We are here talking to Tony Sohn, who's written a song in collaboration with businesses to fundraise for the Alberta veterans and, of course, the first responders. Tony, great to have you with us.
Hi, thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me.
Obviously a great song. Everybody's talking about it. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's called and what it's all about?
Valor and Pride, the name represents a couple of different things. Valor of our veterans and then the pride that we have as Canadians for them. So this song is essentially a World War II song that will benefit hopefully veterans and first responders going forward. It's available anywhere you buy music digitally, and of course it's on all the streaming services as well.
Okay. And what's interesting with this is, I mean, you've written this 5 years ago. Tell us a little bit about that. You had an emotional impact in terms of certain things that were going on that day. Tell us why you wrote that and how that impacted you that day.
I came home from our Remembrance Day ceremonies here in Red Deer, and one of the things that I was really struck by was just how old our veterans are and how we're losing them going forward. So I wanted to pay them respect in a way that was really special, and music comes naturally for me. So I just grabbed a guitar and sat down and wrote a song, and it just kind of flowed out, and away we went from there. Yeah. It was an old song that we'd taken forward with some new players and some really smart musical brains here within the city to create what we have now called Valor and Pride.
And of course it benefits CanPraxis is the organization, the Canadian organization that you deal with. Tell us a little bit about them and how you guys collaborated in that.
Well, CanPraxis is an incredible organization that's located in Alberta, and what they do is they use horses to heal veterans from mental wounds. They don't necessarily call it PTSD because they don't want to give it a blanket term. Mental wounds come in a lot of different ways. So they use horses in order to teach them communication skills, but not just with either the veteran or first responder, but also with their next closest support pillar, which is usually their spouse. And they keep them right there on the ranch. They utilize the horses throughout the program. And when they leave, hopefully they have the tools in order for them to progress themselves to a healthy life and the next stage in, well, basically communicating with their partner and having a great rapport with them going forward.
Yeah, what a great thing you're doing, and of course a great organization, and they've fought for us and they've done so much for us and continue to do so. So this song obviously is making a huge impact, and there's a fundraiser and that you're working on right now. How have you involved the businesses? I know that they had a lot in Red Deer. There's a lot of businesses involved as well too with you.
Well, not only did it take a collaborative effort with the musicians and studios themselves, but all of that costs money going forward too. So Southside Dodge here within the city they're just a great business that I've known for some time that have reached out to help folks that couldn't help themselves. And this is one of the things that I needed some help with, or else it just couldn't get done. And they stepped up without question. They paid for all of our production fees, for all of our studio fees, and they made sure that we could just concentrate on what we're good at, which is the musical side of things. And we really appreciate their support. The song wouldn't have been done without them.
Wow. Obviously, such an amazing thing you're doing, obviously, but it took you 5 years. Now that, it must have been a long process. What was that like for you?
Well, it was one of those things where I had sat on it for a long time and reworked it a couple of times. But thankfully, here within the city, we have a wealth of musicians. So I reached out to some amazing folks. Denver, who is with his own band, The Frank, here in the city, did a great job vocally. Dylan Robinson from Red Sun Phenomenon, he also did some great vocal work. But really, Donnie Smith Productions was an incredible brain where he took what I had, which was a raw song that I'd worked over a couple of times, and he made it something really special. It's got an East Coast theme to it. It's something that's palatable regardless of what your musical preferences usually might be. And I usually try to compare it to something that the Trews did, as we all know, Highway of Heroes. So it's got sort of that vibe in mind, but it is definitely our own take and our own rendition. And it wouldn't have been done without all of these people in a collaborative effort.
Of course, and you must be really proud of it.
I am, thank you. Yeah, and it's starting to pick up some steam. Some folks are playing it here within the city locally. They've been using it during Remembrance Day ceremonies at middle schools and elementary schools and stuff like that. And we're hoping to spread it as far as we can all across the country. Every time you purchase this song, it's going to raise money for Can Praxis, of course. But not only that, but it's going to keep the day of Remembrance Day reverent for all of us and ensure that we all take a moment to think about those that sacrifice so much for what we have right now.
Awesome. We're running out of time, obviously, but where can people find the song? How can they download it?
Well, the easiest thing you can do is go to your normal digital purchasing app, which might be Google Play, it might be Amazon Music, it might be Apple Music. You can get them there, and of course a lot of others. But you can also just stream it on Spotify, and there is a video available. It's floating around on Facebook right now, and it's also on YouTube. If you search Valor and Pride, you should be able to narrow it down on any of those different mediums.
Okay, well, thank you, Tony. Obviously, Remembrance Day on the 11th. This is a great thing to do, and hopefully everybody downloads that for you. And great to have you. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about that.
Thank you for having me.